Welcome to Turning Point, a podcast series brought to you by EuroIntervention. In this 20th anniversary special, we sit down with clinicians, researchers, mentors, and innovators to explore the moments that shape their paths and to reflect on the values we share: curiosity, education, collaboration, and a commitment to improving patient care. Because every journey has a turning point, and everyone has a story to tell. My name is Aisha Kader, and I will be your host. Today we have my friend and colleague, Dr. Valeria Paradies. He's an interventional cardiologist at Mastad Hospitals, Rotterdam, and section editor at EuroIntervention. Welcome, Valeria.
Thank you very much, Aisha. A pleasure to be here.
It's so delightful that we have you with us here today. So let's start with your earliest days in cardiology, which was, of course, not a very long time ago. You were born and raised in Italy. You began your medical career in Bari and had a secure position and was all good to go. But you moved across the world, initially to Singapore, and then across Europe for further education and training, finally settling now in Rotterdam. What motivated you to step away from that traditional path, Valeria?
That's a great question to start with. I think at a certain point of my career, I had the feeling that I wanted more. I wanted to see more. I wanted to learn more and to be exposed to different way of working. And that was the boost for me to look for an opportunity. And back then I was a fellow, and being a fellow and looking for a position for opportunities is not easy. So what I did back then was starting chasing all the interventional cardiologists I know. I knew back then from all over the world and looking for an opportunity. And at a certain point I got that opportunity. Of fellowship in Rotterdam was the first step. And that really opened my mind about the other things, the other ways of working, different culture, more opportunities. And I thought, wow, that's great. I want to embark this travel, this journey.
Yeah, that's an incredible start to the journey, Valeria. Why did you feel so strongly about stepping out of your comfort zone? Was there a pivotal moment when you realized that this was the right move for you?
You never feel strong about stepping out your comfort zone. I mean, per definition, I guess. So you have to gather all your energy, your passion, your desire, willing to do something different. And at that point, you embark on this journey. So the turning point, my pivotal moment, was when indeed I realized I wanted to go for opportunity abroad.
That's great. Tell us a little more about your other move. Why Singapore? How did that influence your career?
Yeah, that's it was during the journey. I was done with my fellowship in Rotterdam, which was an incredible experience from both working clinical activities and research-wise, being exposed to how to run a clinical trial for the first time in my life. And I discovered I had already passion for research that was inside me. But in Rotterdam, I realized that research was really, really great passion I had. So I got the opportunity to move to Singapore to dive deep into research, and that gave me also a different perspective of doing research, doing bench tests, understanding the stents from different way. So bench test models. That was a great time.
I think it's so great that you spent a whole period only doing research. How important do you think that is in shaping an interventional cardiologist who wants to do research, spending time at the bench, doing these tests and investigations?
It's an opportunity that, of course, if you have the chance to get it, you have to go for it. But I admit it's not easy to combine a clinical pathway with a research pathway. So you have to find the best time in your career, and there are phases in life. You cannot go always 100% in both the two things. You have to find a balance. And I think research is even more important at the beginning of your career, because you need to get fundamentals. You need to get the basics of doing research. And there will be some mentors, especially at that time, who are going to teach you how to perform research in the best way. It's difficult to catch up on research later on. Clinical activities, of course, you need to follow that path as well. But to me, it's easier to catch up because this is what you're going to do every day of your life.
That's true. It's all about the timing to an extent. And I suppose there were other challenges along the way as well because of being and living in a foreign country. So did you face any specific cultural or professional challenges that you needed to adapt to in maybe unexpected ways?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we're talking about stepping out your comfort zone. Living abroad is indeed out of your comfort zone. I think for me, the most challenging part was when I got back to Rotterdam with a permanent position, a staff position. And, there's a transition. There is huge difference from being a fellow in a place and then coming back as a senior operator, as staff member, especially when you're a foreigner, because you need to find the room for you. You need to find a position. You need to be a part of the group, integrated in the group. And yeah, that can be challenging.
And it, like you said, it is about finding that niche in that place. How did you establish yourself as an important, vital, valued member that you are now at Rotterdam and also so quickly in your career?
Well, I have to say that the place where I work gives me plenty of opportunities. It's a great center with a track record of research. My mentor, Dr. Smits, he opened the way, of course, for me, taught me a lot of things about research and also, of course, put a big trust into my future. And that was also seen by colleagues, understanding maybe the value that at the beginning was a bit hidden because, you need to take some time to show your potential.
That's true. And that is also such a good hallmark of good mentorship, which you were very fortunate to receive because mentorship is so crucial to career and professional development. And now you have your own fellows. How do you perceive this transition from being mentored and mentored so well to having mentees of your own as a mid-career cardiologist? What are the challenges and what do you want to give?
That's a great point. You never stop being a mentee yourself because you always look for advices from your mentor. But, you can have multiple mentors. Doesn't have to be one. Doesn't have to be in your own institution. But you feel at a certain point also, you need that you have to give back what you got. And that's where you try to become a good mentor for your mentees. It's not easy, of course. You need to know how to stimulate them, to involve them, how to transmit. I think that's for me, that's the most important thing for me is to pass them the joy I have when I do my work, when I perform clinical activities, but especially research. And I try to pass that to them. I want them to leave from my center saying, wow, that's great doing all this job at this level. And I want to do that in the future. So that's my goal.
That's an incredible mindset to have as well. Let's talk a bit now more about your involvement in EuroIntervention, to which you have made significant contributions over the years. And you are now a section editor. Can you tell us about how you got involved with the journal?
Well, but was some years ago. Actually, I would have to say almost 10 years ago, I was involved by some other colleagues to be a reviewer for the journal, which I took very seriously. Of course, because I think you have a duty when you are asked to be a reviewer. And then I started indeed performing some reviews for the journal, being more and more involved. getting more assignments and try to fulfill them on time and in the best way. And then at a certain point, I was asked, because they valued within the editorial board, they probably valued the reviews I perform. They asked me to join as a section editor. And since then, it has been a great journey. You feel very involved. You feel that you belong to a group, and you see the journal also growing in the latest years. So it's also part of your contribution, which is really rewarding.
It is, and you should be very proud of it. On top of all of this, you're also working on a PhD and running a randomized control trial, the design paper of which has made it to the coveted 20th anniversary issue of EuroIntervention. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What has it been like managing this trial? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, that's running a trial. I have to say that the idea of the trial started a few years ago. Again, so everything started at the same time, and you don't know what's more important. You have to prioritize. But I think a trial, being a PI of an international trial, multi-center trial, is, of course, a huge turning point in your career. I hope so, but yeah, the expectations are high. You have to work hard. And I remember designing this trial at least 3 years ago. And then, you have to put everything together. And being PI of a trial, everything is under your responsibility. So meaning that all the questions from all the sides, all the queries, all the relationship with and contacts with the ethical committee, everything gets back to you. You have to solve that in a timely manner on top of all your other tasks. So that's a great responsibility. But honestly, seeing the rationale of the trial published on the 20th anniversary of EuroIntervention was a great reward for me.
Yeah, and it's an incredible achievement. I do want to touch on something you just said before that about prioritizing, because with everything that you're juggling, what's the secret with keeping up with it all? Do you delegate? How do you prioritize? And how do you stay motivated and focused?
Well, that's the most difficult question, Aisha. You learn, you grow. I'm someone who wants to have control on everything. And finding the way of delegating to others, trusting others was challenging, but I found the way of doing it because at a certain point you cannot deal with everything. You have to delegate. But also you need to be focused on what brings you joy, what brings you passion, because otherwise you feel overwhelmed and you're not going to do great in all these things. So prioritize in different stages of your life. Sometimes turn back some offers. It's not a guilt. There's no punishment for that. There will be a second opportunity if that's really important. And if you have doubts about what's important, what's really should be your priority at this time, maybe ask for some advices.
I think that again is great advice, Valeria. Thank you so much for sharing your journey, for sharing so candidly the challenges that you have faced across many of your accomplishments and its turning points in your career with us today. And we wish you all the very best across the multiple tasks you're juggling. Thank you, Valeria.
Thank you, Aisha. And let me conclude with one sentence that is audentes fortuna juvat. And if you are brave, then fate will help you. So be brave and get all the opportunities, especially at the early start of your career, and embrace them.
Fabulous. Thank you, Valeria.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Turning Point, a special podcast series celebrating EuroIntervention's 20th anniversary.